This meeting is being recorded. Everybody, welcome to the March 3rd General Membership Meeting of the Harbordale Civic Association. I'm delighted that everybody made it tonight. I would like just to acknowledge, before we get started, all of the members of our Board of Directors who work hard and go to extra meetings and go the extra mile to make this Civic Association work. And so I want to acknowledge Cindy Lowe, who is our Vice President. And then going down the line here, I want to acknowledge Carol, nope, not you. Pam Miller, who is a member of the board. John Z, who is a member of the board. Who else we got? We got Amy on the iPhone here. And we've got, do we have anybody else besides that? No, Amy. Okay, so those are three members of the board who go above and beyond, and I always want to acknowledge the people who work hard for the Civic Association. And individuals take particular projects and run with them, as you will see tonight. So it's not just a question of the board, it's a question of also the people who have a passion for a particular project and they run with it. So I would like to start the meeting by saying that here is our agenda. I'll put the agenda up.
Can't hear it.
Alan, can you hear us so that we know that you're with us? Alan
Yes,
Cohen?
I can hear you.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put up the agenda. And here's the agenda. Okay, so Alan Cohen, who is the Assistant Broward County Administrator, is going to be giving us a convention center update. And so Alan, I'm turning the meeting over to you. Do you need to share a screen or are you just speaking tonight?
I'm just speaking tonight, Marilyn.
All right, so then we're out of screen sharing and we're talking with Alan Cohen. Alan.
All right, well, thank you and hello, everyone. I don't have much new to report, but let me tell you what I can tell you. The Western Expansion Project is continuing because of
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, that was a mistake. Go on.
Oh, so, okay. Because of some rainy weather we had last year, a significant amount of it, that set the project behind. So the contractor applied to the city for some extended work hours. The city has a limit on those work hours of no more than 45-day extension. The City Commission just on second reading last night passed an ordinance allowing them alone, not the city manager, to grant further extensions. So the city manager has the authority to grant a 30-day extension and a 15-day extension on top of that. The City Commission now has the authority to grant further extensions for projects that are in need. The Balfour Beatty, the contractor for the project, did apply for that, and they passed a reso last night extending the extended hours until June 15th. Balfour had actually applied for an extension till the end of the project, which was October. Mr. Kane spoke last night and expressed some concerns about that. And your representative, Sorensen, I think took his concerns to heart and asked that we not be given the full extension. So I'll be going back to them in June. The significance of the June date, by the way, is we're going to be what's called drying in the project in June. So right now, you've been seeing and hearing varying degrees of activity if you live in the Port Condo building while the project is ongoing. The envelope or shell of the building will be fully enclosed and sealed. We project by June. That in construction terms is called drying in. So at that point, all additional construction activity will be taking place inside that facility rather than outside as it is right now. Mr. Kane also brought up concerns about lighting, which I had raised with the contractor prior to last night. I raised it again. He just literally sent me a picture about 15 minutes ago showing me a particular light at the entrance, which I think might be problematic. And I asked him to have that light reoriented so that it wasn't shining up as much, but still providing light to the entrance. I think they think that if the light is shining straight ahead, it's not going up, and they don't realize the impact that it has on people like Mr. and Mrs. Kane in the Port Condo, even up as high as the 14th floor. So I have asked for that, and I would ask for anyone in that building in particular, if you have issues with light, with noise, with dust. Some folks have not been shy about reaching out to me, and it gives me an opportunity to reach out to the contractor and try and deal with it expeditiously. And I'll give you an example. Mr. Kane raised an issue about concrete related dust a few months back. Based on his communication, it was clear to me that this was a significant problem. And instead of trying to spray yet more water on it to keep the dust from blowing, we actually arranged to have all of that broken concrete trucked off of the site to eliminate that issue altogether. And the relevance of the concrete, by the way, is we do have sustainability goals with the project. So we were recycling the concrete, and as it's being recycled and crushed, some dust was being created, a legitimate concern. And we were watering it, but apparently not enough. So as I said, we trucked it off the site. So when I'm made aware of issues, I will do my best to deal with them. I'm by no means a magic man, and sometimes it takes me a while to get through the right person, but I do try, and I definitely try and be responsive. So again, I encourage anyone on the call who lives in the Port Condo, which is our closest residential neighbor, to please reach out to me. Marilyn has my email address and my phone number. It's in my emails that I've sent out to you as well, so feel free to reach out on that. Regarding the rest of the project, the rest of the project has been on hold. I believe we're getting closer to a go, no-go decision on the rest of the project. I think we've all seen more tourists in town, so there's a higher level of confidence about the comeback of the tourism and hospitality industries. That has been a constraining factor, in particular on the financial markets. The uncertainty regarding the long-term impacts of the pandemic on tourism and hospitality has resulted in a lack of enthusiasm to finance hospitality projects. So we're seeing a little easing on that. I'm seeing more enthusiasm, or optimism, I should say, in our government center, even amongst some of the naysayers. And I'm growing more hopeful that the rest of the project will get a go-ahead at some point. When that is, I don't know. Let me see. In the meantime, what I can tell you is that we're bringing if the project does not get a go decision in the very near future, we are bringing an item to the board in the April meeting to move forward with some minimal landscaping on the site. So what we're going to do is hydroseed all the open areas and then put in some flowers and plants in some, particular designated locations. But if the site is not going to be an active construction site, we are committed to making it look a bit nicer than it does right now. If, on the other hand, we do decide to move forward with the construction, then that won't happen, because then we'll be staging for the other elements of the project. Let's see. I think that's it. Happy to address any questions, concerns remarks or otherwise? Alex, I'm shocked to see you raising your hand.
Okay, Alex, I know you've raised your hands and there's a couple of other people who have questions. Could I just, before we start asking questions, could I sort of give a context to this discussion we're having with Alan? And this has to do with Robert, because Robert's been very involved in this. Alan, we have developed over the time a very, very good relationship with you, and you have been very responsive. So kudos to you. This, but this recent kerfuffle at the city commission over the amendment to the noise ordinance, which would allow the city commission to have virtually unlimited ability to modify the hours of operation and days of operation of construction projects, both public and private, okay? That ordinance change was precipitated, I am told by the city manager, by the request from the convention center for some more flexibility in their construction hours. Now, I'm perfectly happy to entertain a discussion about more flexibility for the convention center. But the way the city responded to your request was to propose and ultimately approve a change in the ordinance that affects the entire city of Fort Lauderdale, public and governmental projects alike, giving the commission, this commission and all future commissions, a virtually unlimited ability to modify the hours of operation of construction projects. So there was a concern on the part of not only Harbordale, but a Downtown Civic Association and other civic associations that this particular proposal and now law would have unfortunate unintended consequences. And I bring this up in relationship to the Cordova Boat Club project, where we have people on 15th Street who are suffering mightily from an extension of the operating hours of that construction project. So we have experienced with this more flexible and permissive ability of the city to extend the construction hours of projects. And so we were very unhappy, and we expressed that unhappiness to our commissioner, and I believe Juan is with us today. And he agreed that this was not a really good idea, and he worked hard to at least get it limited to governmental projects, because you could make the argument that there is a public purpose to be served, to facilitate.
And he did bring that up last night.
Yes, and he did, and he worked hard on it, but to no avail. I must tell you, to no avail. So now we have the thing, we have the new ordinance, and as soon as they passed the new ordinance, they passed your proposal, okay? So, you know, I would have thought that given the relationship that we had developed over the years, that you might have at least given us a heads up and come to us and asked us, or at least notified us that this was going on, that you needed this. And, you know, you make a persuasive argument. You need to get this project done in time for the boat show. And we all love the boat show, even though it drives us all crazy in Harbordale. I mean, because of the traffic, but everybody loves the boat show. And I just think it would have been nice had you come to us and given us a heads up on this. And so that's the context in which we view this request for an extended hours. Now, Robert, you want to say something? You had your hand up and you've been very involved in this.
Marilyn, can I
Yes.
briefly respond to
Yes,
what you
certainly.
just said? Okay, so in hindsight, I think there's some merit to what you're saying. We, as you said, went to the city to say, we need an extension that's longer. And we didn't tell them how to do it or whatever. We just asked for that. So, things moved quickly, and in hindsight, yes, maybe I could have reached out. I was so focused on our project that I really wasn't thinking about larger ramifications, quite frankly.
Well, unfortunately, there were unintended consequences of accommodating the convention center, but it's done now. And, you know,
But I want to say one other thing though. It's, and I'm going to put on my hat as a former elected official, is that this is not a power or authority that the commission has granted itself that it's going to take lightly, because, you know, whenever there's a project that's going to impact residents, they're going to think twice about it. And we were the first out of the gate, so maybe we got easier treatment, and maybe, you know, I'm hoping that we behave well and are a good example. I can assure you down the road, there will probably be bad examples, because I don't think everybody tries as hard.
And I agree with that. And having been a commissioner myself, I will tell you that by giving themselves this extraordinary power, okay? Now, you may like this commission, you may not like this commission, but this applies to all commissions, future commissions. And I will guarantee you that the next person out of the box after you is some developer in the downtown or Bahia Mar or Pier 66. Some developer is going to go to the commission and say, well, you did it for him, you should do it for me. And
I want to point out something important to this, but first I want to finish. Yes, I do like this commission, and I think they're very responsible and their heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
So they're not going to steamroll over their residents. They're going to think carefully about taking an action. And an application that comes in has to have a profound, compelling reason why they need the extension. And what you also have to know is that it is more expensive to do what we just asked to do. So we're going to spend more money because we're going to have to pay overtime. And I'm not, you know, I mean, we're doing this so that we open in time for the boat show to make up for the lost time with the weather. So I don't see every developer coming in and saying, I want to create a more expensive project and work these off hours. But there are going to be times when projects face crunches. Mm-hmm. Right now, as you know, the authority is already there for the city manager for up to 45 days. I don't know of, you know, I think very few projects would extend beyond that. But I understand the concern. And again, in hindsight, I wasn't thinking clearly, and you're right, I could have been a little more proactive, and I duly apologize.
Apology accepted. Robert, you want to speak? Robert?
Sure. First, let me start with the good side. Alan did get the hills, and they were significant hills of concrete dust moved, and that's good. I'll say that I have to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. On the ugly side, the port condominium is really accumulating a lot of dust still. And Alan, I'm going to put you on notice that I know that you have an open invite, and I need to get you into my condo to show the dust accumulation. But it's affecting greatly the south wall of the port condominium, and I think the east wall, but we'll get to that. Turning to the ordinance, actually going through the commission with this ordinance taught me something. The amendment to the ordinance that was passed actually is helpful, and I'll get to that. But there's a couple things. First, the regular time hours for construction are still in effect, which is Michelle, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The ordinance requires, gives the authority to the city manager for first 45-day, effectively a 45-day extension of time. The extension of time can be as early as 7 a.m. in the morning and run to, I think,
10 p.m.
10 p.m. at night. That's a long haul. And I want to tell everyone on the call here that several of the commissioners said 6 a.m. in the morning is really, really early to start them dump trucks and concrete mixer. So that's sort of the bad side. On the other hand, and Alan, you need to get with the contractor at the convention center, that there's supposed to be a sign on all the sites that identify the date and the extended hours. I don't think there's a sign there, but then again, it's a big site, and I haven't walked the perimeter. But so there's supposed to be a sign that specifically gives the start date and the end date of this expanded hourly work week. I had pressed the commission to reduce it to 7 a.m. in the morning through 9 p.m. at night, which is effectively a 2-shift construction hour. So Alan, if you know, I understand that the Port Condominium wants to be a good neighbor. Ultimately, a beautiful convention center hotel is going to benefit our property values. Getting there is the problem, because we're looking at like 5-6 years of construction. And if you can wrangle it, I would have the contractor keep to that 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. strictly, because on the good side, the passage of the ordinance provides that the city commission can change the this temporary permit that's going to the contractors for these extended. And what's going to happen is I'm going to start, and so Alan, send me the exemption that they've gotten, because I didn't hear it, and I don't know it.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen. Do you see it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I need the exemption papers for the convention center.
I'm going to put it on the screen, Robert. Go on. I'll put it on the screen.
So anyway, we're going to hold them to it. And if they start violating it, I'm going to start going to the commission, because the amendment to the noise ordinance, the exception to the noise ordinance is, okay, these are
the hours.
No, that's not what he's looking for.
No. Each site has to have their own special exemption.
This is
Okay.
it. These are the hours that the commission has agreed to allow the convention center to operate on until June 1st.
Okay, all right, fine.
June 15th.
No,
June
I'm
15th.
fine. So, all right, so send that to me.
I will.
But the thing is the good thing about the passage of the amendment to the noise exemption ordinance is that now citizens can go directly to the commission to revoke the exemption to the noise ordinance. And that was not there before. So actually it gives us empowerment, but we have, like everything else, Marilyn, I go back to your statement. Now the along with accepting the power, because the construction companies now have the power, they have to also accept the responsibility, which is that if they violate the exemption, or if they really abuse it, like running until 11 p.m. at night with lights and noise, we're going to raise a ruckus at the commission, and as a result, the exemptions are going to be yanked, because I raised 3 major public events. One is the convention center. The other is the work on the BHMR, which is going to be huge. And the third one is the new federal courthouse at about 1000 Southeast 3rd Avenue. That's dead right in the middle of some significant residential neighborhoods. And I don't know about the dry dock on 16th Street. I'm sure they're going to ask for an exemption, because that thing is just a shell right now, and they're slowing down. But remember, Alan, that you know, if they're going to be a good neighbor, and that's why I proposed that's why I proposed 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. because I thought that was more reasonable if you're going to give an exemption, rather than 6 a.m. to 10. But whatever.
Well, so let me, Robert, let me tell you what we plan on doing, because we're trying to run 2 8-hour shifts. So we're likely going to do is have people start reporting the work at whatchamacallit, I think 6:30 but they're not going to be, they're just going to be coming in and, getting their equipment set up or whatever. No construction work would start until 7. And then that shift the 2 shifts would switch at what's 8 hours after 6:30, Robert? 2:30?
2:30, yeah.
2:30. And then the next shift would work until 10, and then just put away their equipment and whatever, in the last half hour.
Right.
We might overlap them if we have to. We're not excited about being out late. It's one of the reasons that I talked to you early on about the drying in process, because we're pushing hard over the next few months to get the shell fully done, because after that, it's not going to be an issue. You're not going to hear or see anything after that.
Yeah. There's one more thing, Alan, and I'll send you this picture. There was a laser light bounced off the glass that went right into our unit on Monday in the middle of the day. And so I think it was an error because the cranes use lasers to measure, but I'll send it to you and you can take that up with you. You'll see it. We took a picture of it. It's like it blinded Michelle for about 10 minutes. I mean, literally her iris was unable to focus, but she recovered. So I don't want to make it bigger than it was.
I just need to ask you one thing, Alan, and I'm looking at this schedule and there's supposed to be no work done after 10 p.m. at night. Can you please explain to me why there are lights on at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning and they're doing a welding and other type of work in the middle of the night, even though it says it's supposed to end by 10?
That's a very good question.
And I wrote to you about that on February 1st and you were going to get back to me, and it's still continuing.
Well, here's the carrot and the stick. Here's the stick part. You've got the exemption, or the construction has the exemption. And if we start reporting violations of the exemption that they have, then they're going to be in big doo-doo.
No, I just wanted you to be aware, because even with this extension, they're still violating it. There's work going on in the middle of the night. So just wanted you to know.
Okay, can we get Juan on the phone? Juan, ask to unmute. Juan, how you doing there?
Very good, thank you. I just want to thank you, Marilyn, Alan, for everything that you do. Alan, thank you for being so close and reachable to this beautiful HOA. I have to say you are my favorite team, so I'm always glad to I'm just serious. Okay, so Alan, I don't know if there is anything in particular that we can help you to track those violations that Rob just mentioned and his wife.
Not that I can think of. I just need to know about them as soon as possible. And Michelle, I thought I did respond to you on that. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay, well, we can take that conversation offline, and it's going to be a long conversation. Thank you, Juan. And I want to thank Ben for his work on this, because he tried mightily, and I think it was due to his concern that, can everybody see on the screen what the new hours of operation are going to be until June 15? Can you see that? Did I manage to put that up on the screen?
Yes, but Marilyn, can I ask you something? How is it if you get a 30-day and a 15-day that it goes all the way to June?
There's no 30-day and 15-day, darling. That's the
No,
permissions
Marilyn,
for the commissioner, for the manager. Yes, Alan.
Right. So let me. So the ordinance provides for now different allowances.
Right.
You can go to the city manager and get a 30-day extension. The city manager can further extend that another 15 days maximum. If you need an extension beyond that time period, you then have to go directly to the city commission, and they can extend beyond that period of time.
Correct.
I don't think they're going to entertain any extension requests until you go to the city manager first for the initial extension request.
Well, let's hope so, because you already had a city manager extension, didn't you?
Yes.
Right, and so the
Well,
Cordova
we're finishing next week is the end of that.
right, and the Cordova Boat Club has already got a city manager extension. I guarantee you that they're going to show up and ask for a further extension, which the commission will determine on the merits whether or not it's a good idea. But I will tell you that the people on 15th Street are very, very upset about the conditions over there, the working conditions and the hours of operation. But these are things that we have to work out. We will work them out, and as good neighbors, we will try and come to some reasonable accommodation, because, you know, these are businesses in our community. Once they're built, they're jobs, they're the tax dollars, and there's a lot of, you know, good things about having these projects done in an expeditious manner. It's just that the immediate neighbors are the ones who suffer, and they're the ones who need to be heard, because
No, and you are completely,
they take the burden for everybody else's benefit.
yeah, and you're completely right, Marin, but I can only speak for Commissioner Sorensen. I mean, you know, our communication is as direct and transparent as possible. So we got your back, and we try to communicate your interest and your concerns, but it's obviously up to the rest of the commissioners and the mayor about the final decision that might affect
Right.
not only you, but the entire city.
Okay, all right, so then that's the situation with the hours of operation. Alan, could I just, before we let you go, ask you, what's the status of the bypass road? Because no matter what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so we are still working on that. We contracted with a design firm to do the final, what's called PDE, which is Planning, Design, and Engineering Study, which is necessary before the road work is actually done. We expect road work to commence sometime after July, probably late fall into the winter, maybe. We're getting different tranches of funding from the state for part of the project, and the design work's not going to be done before late summer anyhow. We are currently going back and forth with FPL right now on how to handle the light poles and the wiring that's on Eisenhower, because we are going to be adding lanes to Eisenhower to accommodate for the additional traffic. So we thought we would be a little further along, and fortunately we had broken that out from the rest of the contract to try and get a head start on it. We might not end up having a head start, and it might be, the work might go on at the same time the rest of the bypass road work is being done, which shouldn't be really an impact to anybody because most of that's in the port boundaries and whatnot. It's really full speed ahead as far as, you know, other than the glitch with FPL.
Okay, that's excellent news, because that's going to be a very important component of the 17th Street task force work, but getting that bypass road up and going. Okay, and the one last question. You said that in April, it's a meeting at the county commission to make a decision of whether you're going to go forward with the rest of the project, or you're going to do a pause. No, I didn't
No.
get that right. No, tell me what it is.
Okay, what I said is we're bringing forward an item for the April agenda to do some site work to improve the site aesthetics.
Okay,
We plan on moving forward with that unless prior to that, a decision regarding moving forward with the project is made. Because if we decide that we're going to move forward with the project, and then we would go to our board and get the appropriate permissions and whatnot, then we wouldn't put in landscaping that we would then have to tear out a few months later.
Sure, I appreciate that. So at that point, could you give us a heads up and let us know whether it's a yes or a no? Because we might want to talk to you about, okay, if you've got some grassy area over there with some plants, how about some ability to do some public access there so we could walk our dogs and play Frisbee and get out to the water. One of the attractive features of the convention center project was the increase of public open space, a controlled public open space. We're not talking about a park. We don't want parks. Unfortunately, parks are a problem right now with the homeless. But if there's going to be some landscaped areas and along the waterfront, there should be some discussion at least about the community being able to get out there and enjoy the water.
So I hear what you're saying, and I'm open to that idea, and I'm sure we are open to it as well. My only concern is that I don't remember what our plans are right now regarding the safety railing along the water and when that's going in. There's also the port is moving forward with bulkhead improvements along that stretch of the waterway as well. So it's not going to make sense for us to install something again that we're going to have to rip out 6 months or a year later. And without a safety railing there, I'm not sure we would open up the site for public use. So
Okay.
I'm not saying no. It's something that I need to explore. I mean, maybe we could create an area that is accessible, yet fenced in from the rest of the site so that there is some access. I'm not promising, I'm just kind of brainstorming right now. Okay.
Excellent, excellent. And that's our relationship, is to be able to discuss these things and reach, some consensus. And before I let you go, we at one point started to talk about some provisions to prevent excessive noise from the site once it was developed.
I'm ready to continue that conversation.
Shall we? Because, we were concerned that if there is a pause and the area now is just a big old grassy area, what might also happen there? Concerts,
That's true.
things like that.
That's true.
So we have to have that discussion as well. But again, we've worked together for a long time. And aside from this little glip, I anticipate that we will continue to work together in a cooperative fashion.
Yes.
So when's a couple of months, we'll do this again, shall we?
Yes, but let's not wait that long to work on the noise issue.
No, we'll work on that.
Let's set up if we can, the next 2 weeks are horrible, but after that, if we could set up a meeting for the week after next.
Okay.
And let's restart that conversation. We were very close to being done.
Okay, yes, no, and I will bring in Joanne Robinson from Lauderdale Harbor Beach, because they're right across the water and they were part of that conversation. I'll get everybody back together again. I'll get the old gang back together again, Alan.
Okay. Oh, so by the way, there's one other thing.
Wait a minute, who was that?
It's Alex.
Alex, come on, Alex.
Hi,
Hi.
Alan. Alan, I've got some confusion. When you say moving forward with the project, my understanding is that the project had full funding already. And I'm hearing like mixed things, and I'd appreciate if you could clarify it for me. That the convention center portion, which is including the convention center and the parking, and supposedly the traffic patterns that are going to be changing. Am I correct in assuming that that was all funded? Or is that an incorrect? Huh?
You are incorrect.
Incorrect.
So
Okay.
the way the project was set up is it was a phased project with what are called guaranteed maximum prices to be provided to the county prior to the county issuing notice to proceed for each of those phases. So we had authorized moving forward with the expansion of the existing structure, what we call the West expansion. There are no other phases that have been authorized as of yet, and there have been no bonds that have been issued. We've used short-term financing for the west expansion. But at some point, we do plan on issuing 2 different sets of bonds, one for the hotel and one for all the various convention center work, the plaza and the CVB building. Because they have different funding streams that are going to be used to guarantee the debt payments. So
the convention,
that's why the project that's why the project was stopped, because the bonding had not been issued to date. And had it been, the project would have been going on all this time.
so
Okay.
I had heard that, Alan, and I guess you're clarifying it, that the hotel bonding has not been moved forward.
Correct.
And, okay, and the rest of the complex with the retail and the amphitheater and all that, none of that is completed. But you
Correct.
will have if I'm correct, you will then have a completed convention center, similar to what we had before, but with more added parking and more space. Is that correct?
The extension to the building that we're doing right now is primarily adding exhibition hall space on the ground.
Right.
The front end that was demolished, we actually lost a couple large meeting rooms, and we lost office space for the management company. That was supposed to be replaced and will be replaced when we do the east expansion, which will be a new standalone building that will go east of the building, going towards the water where Terminal 1 used to be. That's the primary reason that Terminal 1 came down to accommodate for that. So that building will have a new ballroom, a larger kitchen for the whole facility, about 50 new meeting rooms. And we're not adding any extra parking. A new parking garage was just built by the port, as you know, just west of Terminal 4. And that has extra capacity for our use as well.
So then you're looking at a time frame that we could be looking at potentially 5 years or more before we even see a hotel being developed. Would that be a fair statement?
My gut is that we're closer to a go, no go, but once a go decision is made, it will be a good 4 years before the hotel opens up.
But the rest will be functional. So you're going to go, well, let me clarify, help me to clarify this. The physical structure that exists today
will be functional.
Will be completed, finished, etc.
Correct.
Then is the next phase of that going to be the east portion, or will it be the hotel?
I don't know yet.
Oh, you don't know. Okay.
No, because that's tied into the funding decisions. Okay.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
Marilyn,
Yes, dear.
I did want to mention one other thing that I forgot, because we're still doing a little work on the side. We're still separately from the confines of the project and the boundaries of that. We are still working on the pedestrian connections from our project site to the north. So there are 3 different connections that I've discussed with you in the past. The one furthest west, there's a sidewalk that hugs that western wall under the causeway. We're looking to expand or widen that significantly to make it a lot more comfortable and to light it a lot better, so that there's a higher feeling of comfort and safety. Looking at, there's an existing sidewalk running through the middle that sort of lines up with the entrance to the Hilton. We're hoping to widen that sidewalk. And then we are also, we've started discussions with FDOT about, we're adding, as you know, a boardwalk along the water, which was supposed to stop at the end of our property. We're talking to them now about connecting that through their property under the causeway to connect with the Hilton boardwalk on the other side. And possibly even adding a safety rail along the water too. And we are also working on the relocation of the water taxi. It's not going anywhere. It's just moving a little, maybe 50 yards south of where it is now. So, so we're talking to FDOT about a number of different changes under the causeway in their property. I just wanted to let you know those discussions were still ongoing.
Good, that's good. All right.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
done.
does anybody have any other questions for Alan? Okay, Convention Center, noise, nothing? No hands raised? All right, well, thank you so much, Alan. And you're always welcome anytime you want to come. And the next time we should have a discussion about, is it a go, no go? That should be
Okay.
the next discussion. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
and
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Robert, I hope to hear from you soon on when we're getting together.
Oh, you
Okay.
are gonna hear from him.
Thank you.
All right, good night. Good night, Alan.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Muted.
All
Thank you,
right,
Alan.
everybody, let us now continue on our agenda. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to put the agenda back up and let's see where we're at. Can everybody see the agenda?
No,
No?
no.
Oh, that's interesting. I was pretty sure I had put it up on a screen share. Let's see. Let's share Marilyn's screen. Let's go to Marilyn's desktop. And let's share. And here it is. Okay, is that good for everybody? Can everybody see the agenda?
Yes.
All right, so we did Alan Cohen, we did the proposed president's report, okay. We did the second part of it, which was the proposed noise ordinance amendment, so that's done. So let's talk now about the update on the Cordova Road possibilities. Okay, so here's the situation. The Cordova Road Complete Street project is dead. Commission decided that they were not going to go for it. But a lot of work and a lot of effort went into the individual pieces of the Cordova Road project. And what we have gotten from the city staff is an indication that even though the grant of $1 million was declined by the city commission, there is money available in the city's capital improvement project for improvements on Cordova Road. And the amount of money is not $1 million. It's like maybe $156,000. So it's not a lot of money, but the money is there and it needs to be used because if you don't use the money in the city budget, it tends to get dissipated into other projects. So the city came to us and they said, look, we can pull out various pieces of the Complete Street project, some that had more support than others, and we could move those forward independently of the Complete Street project. And the three pieces that they described to us that were possible to move forward independently are as follows, okay? Potential revised project discussion, okay? Number one is a potential pedestrian island, crossing island with rectangular flashing beacons. This is the idea of putting a median in the middle of Cordova Road by Southport Shopping Center, where everybody crosses over into Winn-Dixie. There is room for a small median in the middle. They just shrink all the roads, the lane sizes a little bit, and they put a median in the middle. With a crosswalk and flashing lights, et cetera, to provide a safe pedestrian crossing at that particular place. This has not got anything to do with a raised median in the middle of the street, which eliminated people getting in and out of the shopping centers. This is just a small little island in the middle of the road where people can cross and shelter as they're going across the street. That's one thing that could be done independent of all of the other stuff. And the benefits, the cost of that would be about $100,000. That would use up $100,000 to do that small piece of the project. That's a possibility. The second possibility is to implement the dedicated right-hand turn on Cordova Road. Again, not talking about an island in the middle of the road. We're talking about just paint on the street, paint. And paint on the street would allow us to have 3 lanes going southbound. One is the dedicated right-hand turn, one is straight into the shopping center, and one is the dedicated left-hand turn onto 17th Street. That would make only one turn, one lane coming in on Cordova Road going north. But when you get past 16th Street, it's the same 2 lanes. So it's not eliminating any lanes further north on Cordova Road. That particular project, if you just did that independent of everything else, would cost about $80,000. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's number 2. Number 3 is doing the raised intersection at Cordova Road and Southeast 15th Street. And in addition to doing the raised intersection, which would be exactly like the raised intersections we have on Miami Road and Southeast 10th Avenue, we would include sidewalks on the northeast corner where there are no sidewalks now. There's sidewalks on three parts of that, 3 sides of the intersection, but there are no sidewalks on the northeast corner where the Lauderdale Harbor sign is. Everybody know where the Lauderdale Harbor sign? There's no sidewalks there. And because there's no sidewalks there, we can't have crosswalks. You can only have crosswalks where you have sidewalks. So if we were to do a raised intersection, including sidewalks on the northeast corner, we would be able to have crosswalks on all 4 corners of Cordova Road. So that would cost about $55,000 to do that. So those, and the 4th item that they described would be, if you wanted to redo all the sidewalks on Cordova Road, just redo them all, just have plain, brand new sidewalks, that would be about $120,000 to $150,000. So they gave us these 4 options, and they asked us, well, you know, what would you like to do? Because they have the money, they will do whatever we tell them is, you know, what we would like to do. I'm simplifying here. I'm simplifying, okay? But the bottom line is, if we were to say to the city staff and the city commission, you know what? We like number 1, we don't like number 2, and we like number 3 more, and get started on number 3, they would go forward with it. That's what they have told us. So I think it's very important that members think about these things. I'm not asking for you to make a decision tonight, because you got to think about these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send around a poll, a SurveyMonkey poll, to all the members of the Civic Association. And I'm going to tell them, these are your 4 options. Could you give me your priority? Let's do number 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can pretty much, and the city pretty much guarantee that, you know, they will definitely do number 1, and they'll work on number 2 and number 3 and number 4, but we can definitely get number 1. So I will be sending this around to the membership, this presentation called Cordova Road Potential Revised Project Descriptions. And that will be followed up with a SurveyMonkey poll, like we did when we did we did a poll, and we did a SurveyMonkey poll the first time around. And you'll have an opportunity to vote on your first priority, second priority, third priority. Now, just because something is your first priority doesn't mean we won't get to the second and third. It just means that we'll get the city started on the first priority while they continue to evaluate and work on the second and third and fourth priorities. Does anybody
Marilyn?
have any questions? Yes, I'm going to
I
stop.
do.
Alex.
Am I correct? Because there was some confusion in my mind. That island would only be, for the crosswalk there, would only be at the entrance of the shopping plaza, correct?
It would-
So you would still have the ability, if you were heading south on Cordova, you would still have the ability to then head east on 16th Street. Is that correct?
East on 16th Street. This crosswalk here, this proposal, this proposal, okay, is not involved in 16th Street at all. This
Okay,
is
so that's
between-
my, that
Yes.
it would not extend, because that looks like
No.
a fairly long extension there.
No. This is just an example of an existing one.
Okay,
what
so
they're
it would
proposing
not
is very-
extend
No.
beyond going down towards 16th Street. So 16th Street, let's put it this way, if I came out of Winn-Dixie and I wanted to head back home, I would have clear access from Winn-Dixie to go down 16th Street.
Yes, you would.
Okay,
Yes, this is an example of an existing little thingy that they want to just show for example's sake. But
okay,
what they would give us would be a very small one of these, very small, just to get the people across from Southport to Winn-Dixie.
okay, thank you.
Okay? All right. So if anybody has
Marilyn,
any,
if-
yes, Juan.
If I may add, what we do for the project that we are about to conclude with Las Olas, we can do like a virtual tour. I don't know, maybe Karen, you, our new Daisy, myself, kind of like maybe show a video where people can actually see more than the examples what will be our options to let the city know what are your preferences.
That would be excellent, Juan. I mean, I am going to be sending this around to all the members. And if there's a little video, that's even better. Okay? If
Yeah,
you
that's
can-
just
yeah,
an idea.
fantastic. We could do that. That gives
Yeah.
people more information about what their options are.
Correct.
So I just want to tell everybody that we had a board meeting to go over these options. And I had invited to that board meeting Jack Lose, Buddy Sherman, John Mildridge, who's the attorney for multiple property owners on Cordova Road. I invited them twice. I sent them text messages. They didn't come to the meeting and they did not participate, which is not a good sign. I will not give up on them. I will continue to present these options to them and ask them for their input. But at some point, we have to be able to say to the city, the Harbordale Civic Association wants you to do the following, pursue the following. Yes to this, no to that, whichever one we all agree on is our first priority to do. And we are making every effort we can to engage the property owners. And we'll continue to make every effort we can to engage the property owners in this discussion. Because you remember the last time around, one of the problems with the project, among many problems with the project, was that the property owners felt that they were not adequately consulted. So we're not going to make that mistake again. We're going to try our best to work with all the property owners, even if it means we have to go and have, breakfast at Buddy's and sit in the tables there and, waylay him and talk to him, which Cynthia and I have done on multiple occasions. And we'll keep doing that so that we will be able to say that we made every effort to involve the property owners in this discussion. So if nobody has any, I don't imagine that we have questions right now because you haven't had an opportunity to look at this. So I will send this around to all the members and maybe we'll even have another meeting before we do the poll, maybe another meeting, and we'll get an opportunity to kick some ideas around. Okay, so that's that item on the agenda. And what's the next item on the agenda? Next item on the agenda is Treasurer's Report, see the attached. Well, I will tell you that Cindy's husband, Tom Lull, Treasurer Extraordinaire, is like looking after your money like it was his own. And she will tell you that he is very frugal with his money. So we have, oh, there's Tom. Tom, do you want to say something? Ask to unmute, Tom. Tom?
Okay, there we go.
There
The
you go.
operating account stands at $11,162.86. And our alternative checking account is at $13,183.29. So that's the balances as of today, actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it. And I want to let you know that, I want to let everybody know that we currently have 33 paid members for 2021, which is very close to the number of paid members that we had last year. We do have a mailing list of over 250 people, some of whom are on this call right now who are not members. And I would urge everybody who calls in and asks for permission to join our meetings and asks us to work on their behalf, especially the people on Southeast 15th Street that we've been working very hard with code enforcement to get them some relief, to join the meeting and join the association. It's not that we need the $15, because if everybody pays their $15, it's not enough to run this organization. Between the domain name and the web page and the signs and all of the things that we have to pay for, membership doesn't pay for that. You know what pays for that? Green Your Routine and all of the money that Carol Seroto earns us. So Carol, you're up. You're the next person on the agenda. Carol Seroto, Recycling Audits. Carol. Oh, let's make sure I have unmuted Carol. Where's Carol? Carol, unmuted. Wait a minute, hold on. There you go. You can unmute yourself, Carol.
Okay. I don't see myself, but anyway,
We can see you.
okay, great. We have 6 potential participants in the 15th Street cleanup on Saturday the 13th, starting at 9 a.m. We should be through in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So those 6 people, if you promised you'd go, we'll be happy to see you there. We're going to meet at Harbordale Elementary School parking lot, the semicircle parking lot. And I've sent you all things that we have, and bring your water, your coffee, your sunblock, and your hats. So that's coming up, and we do that each quarter. And I don't know if any of you have seen it, but we have a 15th Street Green Your Routine sign that shows that Harbordale has adopted 15th Street from Federal to the Marina. So that's something great. Number 2, we have, I've been speaking about the ongoing Green Your Routine neighborhood audits. And we've had 6 of them so far. And we're always looking for more volunteers. There's a little video the city will send to your email. And then there's a little app that we use, put out by the city. And we go to the different neighborhoods. Right now we're working on Shady Banks, and finishing up Melrose Park. Because Melrose Park was so large, we had to do it in 2 periods of time. Anyway, the audit is simple. You have these gloves, you lift up the recycle can, you look in. If you see plastics and the non-prohibitive, the prohibitive items in the cart, it's noted by a photograph which attaches to that address. And we note what's in there, whether it's construction material or clothing or toys or smelly cat food cans, whatever. We make a note of it. They'll get a little sign that's put on the handle saying good job, or this is your first mistake, and we'll mark off what stuff they've put in there that is not allowed. And on the 3rd week, we do a final sign. If they failed the test 3 weeks in a row, or 2 out of the 3, their can is turned around. We make a note to the city to take their recycle can away and not give it back to them. And some of the people on this site now have participated in the audit. And I tell you, it's really nice to see from week 1 to week 2 who's paying attention and who's now putting their carts out. And by the 3rd week, it's pretty nice to see, oh, we've taught them. And there are also informational signs put in their neighborhood the week that we start, and those signs sit up there for 3 weeks. So it's also an educational thing. So that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, And I must say, I've done one of these. I did it with Vicky Eccles, and we did, what did we do? Did we do Shady Banks?
River Oaks.
River Oaks, okay. And you'll be surprised that at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're walking around looking at people's garbage, and people are coming out of their houses and saying, "What are you doing in my garbage?" And you get to engage with people and tell them, this was a mistake, that was a mistake, but you did good on this. And they really are appreciative. We never had a bad reaction from any of the people. They were anxious to know what they were doing wrong and how they could do better. And the best part of it was on the third week, when you got to somebody who was failed the first week and failed the second week, and they got it right the third week, they were like delighted. You'd say, "Okay, good job, yay, yay." And everybody was so happy. It's a happy thing. And if you're into recycling, okay, if you're into saving the planet, this is something that will make you feel good and doing God's work. So get in touch with Carol. Go to harbordale.org, contact us. There's a contact form there that says, I am interested in participating in Green Routine. Put your name in, let Carol know that you're interested, and she'll get in touch with you directly. Okay, thank you very much, Carol. Okay, old business, Southeast 10th Street Avenue planting plan. For this, I'm going to Cynthia. I'm going to Cynthia because she's like Miss Butterfly Garden.
Well,
And then Scott, if he's on. I don't know if he's on. Is Scott with
yeah,
us?
I think Scott's with us. I hope he is, because again, since
Oh,
my
there he is.
since my accident, I must say, and then I had another medical issue that was very urgent this last month. So I have not been able to walk or do much, but I've been in touch often with Scott and Bob Dugan and some other people on the 10th Avenue strip. And it seems things are going along. There's been conversation back and forth between David Mancini's guy, Rob, and Bob Dugan, Scott, and myself regarding, finalizing the plants we're putting in with the costs. We, as a civic association, have not tentatively, but we've discussed, putting in some funds to make the strip look better. And by that, I mean maybe getting larger plants or getting, more importantly, getting Florida native plants, especially. We really want to make this an outstanding alley of native trees, native plantings that will encourage pollinators and butterflies and birds and whatnot. And it's just, all in all, it'll be better. It'll reduce water. It's just a great thing. And it would be a wonderful thing if we could start introducing back these Florida natives. As far as the butterfly garden goes, they've sodded it, which looks nice. But again, I'm very, I'm still not walking without my walker or a boot. So it's difficult. I'm a little tentative about walking on the gravel there, but I'm going to really start now. I'm going to be in touch with Joan Starr from Snyder Park Butterfly Garden. And I want to take some measurements and then we'll go forward. She has some plants started already. At some point, and again, this is a bit in the future, but since the city's not going to have their first citywide tree giveaway this year because of COVID, we can still, as a civic association, have our own tree giveaway. So maybe we'll kick off by doing a little tree giveaway at the butterfly garden area. We could, ask for membership at that time as well. But the thing is, we would be able to get some trees, and pretty much to our choosing, that could go into the butterfly garden as well. So that's a little plan. It's in the back of my mind, but something that I think will be very advantageous to everybody that participates, but particularly the butterfly garden.
Okay,
So
thank you, Cindy. You're Miss Butterfly. We're gonna have a plaque there for Cindy the Butterfly Lady. Scott,
No,
do
I
you want to
just-
add anything?
I just want to have a bench and a Harbordale notification that Harbordale put this together.
Okay, Scott, do you want to add anything?
I just want to make one thing just clear to everybody that's listening. We did put together quite a diverse list of plants, most of them native. Our wish list included some sort of pretty mature things. And it does look like they're going to be too costly, and kind of the direction that we're heading is, instead of going with less costly non-natives, that we're going to reduce the size of that. So we would ask that if we move that direction, that people have some patience. And in a few of the plants, we're going to have to give them a year or two to grow and get established. And I just want to set everyone's expectations that, to get all these diverse natives, we are going to have to cut back a little bit. That we're looking to do that on plant size. So patience pays, hopefully there.
Okay, and I want to let everybody know that we have in our budget an allocation of $2,000 for our Tremendous program. For those of you who remember our Tremendous program, which we haven't used in a couple of years, but we have already set aside that money in the budget, and we are willing to add to the plan to build this very beautiful avenue, Southeast 10th Avenue. So all the money that we're working at so hard through Green U Routine and audits and whatever things that we're doing to earn those dollars are going directly into the improvements in the neighborhood. So remember that when Carol asks you to volunteer for a Green U Routine project, that translates directly into an improved environment on Southeast 10th Avenue, the monuments, the signs, and things like that. The money goes directly to all of those improvements in the community. Okay, well, thank you. Yes.
Marilyn, I just want to say one more thing. I get a lot of questions since I'm on 10th Avenue and people see me outside a lot is, what's happening? It's been kind of stalled recently. It's been quiet. After they put the grass in, they've got mostly dirt and all the rock put in some of the areas in the median where we won't be putting plants. But we have one more area that we're still questioning. And we will be putting, hopefully get moving ahead with the planting soon. And in addition to that, we're also working on, I am told that they're going to repave at some point too. People have been asking, what's going on with that? That'll put the speed humps back into place and, make 10th Avenue a little bit smoother for vehicular traffic. It's pretty bumpy right now. In addition to that, there's a lot of temporary signs. Do not enter wrong way that were put up during the construction, and we're working on figuring out which ones of those need to be made permanent. So that's going to be some changes coming up on 10th Avenue also.
And I want to thank the people on 10th Avenue for their participation and meeting with the city staff to go over that. That takes a lot of time and energy, and you got to give the people on 10th Avenue credit for the amount of time and dedication they're putting into this project. I think I heard Anya. Anya, was that you? Anya, no? Anya, I don't see Anya. All right, thank you, everybody. That concludes our agenda, unless Cindy, you have something you want to add? Cindy?
Yeah, I have the most important thing.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Our new shirts are in. That's the front. Same as the old shirts, but new. And that's the back.
All right. That's good. And these new shirts have the Harbordale.org connector. The old t-shirts didn't have any way to get in touch with us. The new t-shirts have the website. So that if people want to get in touch with us, the URL is right there. That's great. Cindy, we have to decide how we're gonna do this. I think we might want to think about giving these out as sort of prizes for people who work on Green U Routine, people who work on other projects in the community. How many have we got?
28.
28. Okay. So I think that these should be used as thank yous for people who are doing the work. What do you think?
I think yes, but then we'll be left with a number of shirts. So maybe we should do that, and then first come, first serve members. I can get more as well too. I
Mhm.
mean, we
All
can get
right.
more, but and then I thought if people, if we did do that for our paid up members, maybe I could give my number and people could text me with their name and size, and I'm here because I really can't go out much, and so they could come pick the shirts up.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's put out an email to all the members when I do that other email about all the possibilities. And I'll make them go to the website. I don't want to give out your information directly. I'll make them go to the website, contact us, and ask if they want to have a T-shirt. If they're a member and they need a T-shirt, to contact you directly. How's that?
That's great. But also, again, going back to what you were saying, maybe if we make a list of the people that have been volunteering in the last year, they get their shirts first.
Okay.
And
We can do
Carol,
that.
Carol knows who's been volunteering. I know some, some, so we could put a little list together.
Okay.
And that's probably only, Carol, I don't know, what do you think? Maybe
Yeah, that's
maybe-
fine. I'd
maybe
also
10
like,
people? Not even.
but we have some new members that are going to be doing the street cleanup this Friday. I'd like them to swing by and get their shirts so they can be wearing them.
That'd be great. It's good to be wearing these shirts while we're doing all these opportunities, especially the cleanup on 15th Street, so people know who's cleaning their street. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
hey, Carol, I could even have Tom drive me over and sit there with the shirts and give them out before you start the cleanup.
That would be great. Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool beans.
And then we'll go from there.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for your hard work on this. And I know Cindy was sitting home alone thinking about what am I going to do? And she said, oh, I'll get T-shirts for the Civic Association. That's great. That's absolutely great. Okay. Well, that completes the agenda. Unless anybody has any new business something that we should be looking at, taking care of, that we haven't talked about, I'm open to any suggestions that people might have. And hearing none, I would recommend that it's 8:30 and we've been together for an hour and a half. It's always a pleasure to talk with you all. And I would like to say that the meeting is adjourned and I will see you again next month, hopefully. Okay.
I second that emotion.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye.